Yay. Good evening, everybody. It is the last day of March 31, 2025. And I welcome you all to the Victoria Center Astro Cafe. Tonight, we have stuff from David Lee, Natasha, Lauri. Can I convince anybody else to bring up a topic? We'll try to nudge my neighbor here, Chris, to say something. But I think I'm going to start because, well, I had every intention. Natasha has asked me to talk about the zodiacal light. And let me tell you, Natasha, it is such a delicious topic. But for a weekend, first of all, when I had to do a newsletter, and I hope everybody got the newsletter, and these pictures kept coming into my Facebook of the eclipse on Friday, and I just couldn't not spend time working on that. So what we're going to see today is a beautiful tour from Europe to Canada of the eclipse on Friday, March 29th. So let's get this going. After Leslie gets his diva puffs. And are we on? We're on. Yeah, mostly I'm going to go from east to west, but I just love the way that the light gets caught in the windows of this boat. I think that's wonderful. And then you also have the what do you call it when the shore looks like an island across the way? That's
mirage.
Well, it's a mirage. It's a superior mirage. But don't you have a word for that? Anyway, this is a stunning photo from Nova Scotia. But now let's jump the furthest east that I have found is in the Czech Republic, and this is going to be quite often throughout the talk. Is a lot of people got clouds. Like why did they put a northern hemisphere eclipse in March? How silly of them. Anyway, this is pretty typical of what people have been seeing. Oh, there's a very nice YouTube, this extremely serious astrophotographer who has 2 pillars on her house's roof, and she put 2 telescopes on, and she really fought the clouds, but she went in beautiful detail of all the stuff that she did, and then she got like 20 seconds of exposure over the whole thing. But it's a lovely YouTube that I just watched this morning, so it didn't make it into this presentation.
So that's the greatest dedication per second.
Yes. Okay, so here we are in Berlin. And you see, you don't get much of a bite out of the cookie when you're in Europe, because the best overlap between the moon and the sun was in Newfoundland. So let's move across to France. Nice cloudy day that somebody got this picture from. I would think those are the same bird gliding across in a video. I think that's 4 frames on a video because they're too similar. But there's some nice sunspots, and I really love it when people work out which mountain on the edge of the limb of the moon each of these things represents. They're very good at that now. Jumping across to the UK. I have no idea why this is green. But what I like about this picture is it really shows you how the moon is the same size as the sun. I'm not sure what this black is around here. Is that just something that the photographer imposed on the picture? Just to separate out the different images?
Yeah, I think it's likely that's what it is.
And who knew there was a Royal Liver building in Liverpool?
Royal Liver Building?
Yes, you go there and you eat liver.
Mm.
24/7. I don't know.
You go there and you get your liver repaired from the drinking that you did.
Ah, okay.
Or maybe the creature eats your liver.
It
Actually, what is the creature? Does anybody know?
looks like a griffin to me.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, there's probably a Mr. Liver somewhere.
Or is it the Liver River through Liverpool? Or why is Liverpool called Liverpool? Anyway, so
The liver there is the mercy, of course.
oh yeah,
Is that
yeah.
the guy who makes the little liver pills?
Carter's with the liver pills?
Anyway, somebody bored my talk and do a Google search. And there we go. Isn't that lovely over Stonehenge? They got clear sky because, that's what Stonehenge does. It clears away the skies. It never is cloudy there, right? Anyway, that's the most successful picture I've seen from Europe. This one made the APOD, the astronomy photo of the day from Iceland. And here we are in Greenland. Pretty cloudy.
Is that a statue of Trump?
No politics lesson. And so I told you Newfoundland was the best place on earth to watch this eclipse. And this is the best picture I've seen. Oh, poor guys. There's lots of people who put on the Facebook pictures of clouds that on Friday morning. It was sad. So I have no idea where this is. I bet this is Nova Scotia. But that's a dreamy picture, isn't it?
Wow.
That's amazing.
Okay, so now here's going to be a series of about 4 pictures. There was a whole bunch that were taken in sequence from Halifax. I think that was a very nice set.
It's beautiful.
Okay, do you know about the Omega sun? When the sun rises over the ocean, you often get that little lump at the bottom. So it looks like the Greek letter omega, except today, on Friday, it rose and it had that bite taken out of it. So that's an eclipse omega.
Probably the same phenomenon that produces the green flash.
Well, that's one of the things. I have to find out about that. The green flash is on my list. So let me remind everybody, I want pictures of green flashes and I want your stories to go along with it when you've seen it.
I did look up what causes it.
Good, but hold on to that thought and we'll talk about it another week.
Here.
Okay, but that's great because I still don't know. So we'll talk later.
It's magic.
Oh, okay. Okay, this one for me wins the day.
Nice.
Mhm.
That I don't know. Totally is this kind of magic realism coming up over the horizon and lighting up the grass like that. Just fantastic. Okay, now we're in New Brunswick. Not so many pictures from New Brunswick. I don't know why. Lots from Nova Scotia. And from here on, we're in Quebec. So the atmosphere is a bit more agitated here, which makes this kind of scary looking sort of picture.
Not pretty sure what that is.
Well, I think it's that superior mirage again, like the Omega, but have any of you seen where a ship looks right side up and then upside down and then right side up again?
I haven't seen three.
No,
Yeah, along Dallas Road, actually.
Yeah, you've seen along Dallas
I see
about
it
once a
with
year.
Little dinky toys out there. I got a deckhand out there was one night, we're just amazed and felt like we're in somewhere else.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful thing. And yeah, I see it about once a year, usually like in August from Clover Point.
Mhm.
The nice one, Charlevoix, Quebec, and here's somebody else in Charlevoix who did, is that H alpha? Or is that just visual?
I think it looks like white solar. Oh no, it can't be.
No.
It can't be because
No.
we see other things there. It would have to be like H alpha, yeah.
Yeah,
You don't get that level of granulation without it.
There's another one you can use.
K? Calcium?
Yeah,
Calcium?
calcium.
Yeah, but that's purple usually.
Well, it's not red either.
Well, I mean, people often
Yeah.
use mono sensors anyways.
okay, yeah, I really like seeing the duck in the reflection there. Okay, but this is the highlight. This is the highlight. So let's move over to this video. And I'm not going to play the sound, but it is worth listening to the sound because they're saying, wow, oh, and all that stuff all the way through it. Anyway, this is in real time. Okay, so like you can see the birds flying by during it. So we're actually watching sunrise Friday morning from where? It says somewhere. Oh, Les Escumins. I don't know where it is. I think it's on the south shore of the St. Lawrence. And remember, this is just a bit north of east. We're just past the spring equinox, so it's just a bit north of east. And this is real time watching sunrise. See those birds going by? It just blows me away.
I don't know if that's the front end of a car or a longhorn cattle.
Yeah, well, Viking.
Viking. We're under attack.
I had a really nice time Sunday morning at Clover Point watching sunrise. And it really is very fast. If you catch it right at the time, that 2 minutes that is represented here is it's quite wonderful seeing it creep up over the mountains. And
Escumins means shaky hands. It's on the North Shore and where the pilots get on the ships to take them into the port of Montreal.
oh, very good. Who said that?
I played there.
Oh, good for you, Miles.
That's amazing that you could see the two little parts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two
it's
horns.
And then it just-
Like two
that was
horns.
amazing.
They
Yeah,
call
the
it a
two,
double
yeah.
sunrise. Some people call it the double sunrise. And I remember a couple of years ago, people were taking pictures of that, I don't know, somewhere like Saudi Arabia. And it always seems so exotic. And here it is right in Canada.
Seems very exotic to the Saudi Arabians.
Yeah, that was in Oman from Oman, I should say, that you saw the the horns rising before previous year.
That picture with the reflection on the water. They are so lucky. They are so lucky. Okay, so that is my presentation today. And that's
How did you find all those? You just Googled Eclipse?
all right. Yes, there's a bit of Googling and a lot is just scrolling through my Facebook, and I've trained the algorithm. The algorithm knows me.
I see.
Okay, so let's go to David Lee.
Okay, thank you. So tomorrow night, beginner SIG, Kirsten's gonna educate us on Saturnian moons. So I heard she really enjoyed putting it together, so I'm sure it'll be wonderful. So just before or just after the SIG, I just want to point out something to people. I'll just put the share on here. This should be visible within a binocular view. A really nice crescent moon, just under 4 days, and the Pleiades. So I just want to remind people of that. It may or may not be clear, but we will see.
What's the altitude, David?
I think it's like it's over the set of trees that are nearby, near my place, but
That
I would
doesn't help
say
me.
20 to 30 degrees, I would say.
Okay.
Goodbye.
It's pretty high. And while you're at it, you may as well look at Jupiter, look at the Hyades, one last look at Orion, and I guess one.
Mars will be
Oh,
something. Oh, look at Mars is right up there.
look at
where-
this is cute. There's the twins, one catching Mars as a ball.
Triplets.
Yeah, so they're almost like standing up, right? That's kind of cool. All right.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, what do we know about the what's it called? The corona.
T Corona Borealis.
Yeah,
It went past the point of the last prediction, so we're on to months to come, I guess.
Wow.
It's kind of sad because you tell everybody about it and then it just never comes. But I know it should be spectacular when it happens.
have you done any observations lately?
Yeah, I have. I've been waiting for it to get clear so I can just take an initial photo, but it hasn't been great. And also, I've been trying to take pictures of the full moon at the prescribed times with the fellow in the UK, but that hasn't gone well either. It's very rainy over in the UK as well.
That's more a summer project.
Well, there's a full moon coming up, so I'm hopeful. We've got a stretch of clear days coming up as well. Hopefully, everybody's getting excited about that. I am.
Good. So while we have you on the spotlight, David, let's talk maybe a bit about International Astronomy Day.
Mhm.
So Kirsten, tell us about the 3 speakers we know about.
Okay, I can happy to do that, Randy. So we have 3, we're gonna have a total of 4 highlighted speakers on International Astronomy Day, along with all of the exhibits and other kind of sources of information. But we have 3 out of the 4 that are now confirmed. So I'm happy to say that Amy Archer, who's the vice chair of the Friends of the the DAO. She has agreed to give a presentation that is, and I don't want to, there's probably not an official title yet, but she's delivered it once up at the center. And it's, I would call it kind of a part two to the presentation that she gave at International Astronomy Day last year, which was about the role of the stars, in particular the North Star, and the Underground Railroad in terms of helping Black people escape in the United States in history back during I guess before slavery was abolished there. And Amy had talked in that presentation about the some other kind of key historical events over time, a little bit more recent, in particular, the role of James Douglas, who, now I'm probably going to get the title wrong, but he was the first. Now, was he like a lieutenant governor or what?
The governor here
Yeah.
in Victoria.
Victoria.
Okay, so he was governor of Victoria, not, I guess, but
No, he's governor of
What-
Vancouver Island, the colony of Vancouver Island.
okay, the colony of Vancouver Island. Thank you.
And he was
And
the
he,
second governor.
okay,
The first
great.
one was Blanchard. So he just
Okay.
talked about the big streets.
Oh, okay.
Good to know. Anyway, James Douglas played some very interesting roles with respect to some of those dynamics between the United States and Canada, and bringing certain, I guess, numbers of Black people onto Vancouver Island and into BC. And so Amy has done a lot more research around James Douglas in this regard. But I think what's really interesting about it, not only his role in the history of Victoria and Vancouver Island, but he was also an amateur astronomer. And she's done a lot of additional research into this, and it's just a really interesting presentation. She's gone into a lot more detail specifically about James Douglas and his family and that historical role. So we're going to get to see that. I'm happy to say Nathan has agreed to present. He's going to be presenting about his new book. So that
Pause here. On Tuesday, April 8th at Bolin Books
Yes.
is the Victoria book launch. And he will be interviewed like he was last time. He will be interviewed by Bob McDonald. And there's a cost to go in, $5 or something. But if you pay $25, then you also get a copy of the book. On the other hand, you can also buy the book for $25 directly from Nathan, and they're hoping to be receiving copies this week, but there are like 25 copies already in stock at Bolin's. Anyway, I really don't know how he can write a whole other book after he explained everything about the universe in the last one. But he's done it. So I'm very keen to see what goes into this new book.
it's called The Language of the Stars. And so hopefully he hasn't
You have it,
I guess-
Mike.
I'm sorry.
Mike has it. He was just showing it.
Yeah.
Have you opened it yet, Mike? You're muted.
Wants to be muted.
He wants to be muted. Okay. Oh, there we are.
If they had 25, they don't have them anymore. I was in there yesterday and looked like there was a handful out. Now they might have had them in the back, but and I started reading it. It's just quirky, funny, just like the first one, and it starts on a little different premise. So buy one, they're a hoot.
So
Wonderful.
Nathan has not yet announced what his presentation is going to be on International Astronomy Day, but I'm assuming that it will be related to his new book. But once he provides a title, we will know for sure. And then lastly, but certainly not least, the third confirmed speaker, I'm happy to say, is Chris Gainor, who
Yay.
is, yes, thank you, Chris, who's going to be talking to us about, I am not sure, some new and interesting, I don't know whether it'll be history of space or some current mission or whatever it is that Chris is going to talk to us about. I'm sure it will be very interesting.
Does Chris know what he's going to talk about?
You know, when I walked in here, I didn't, but I've been thinking about it.
Yes.
So, and this is something I'm working on. It's going to be about the Hubble Space Telescope in Canada.
Oh,
Good.
So that'll be things like, Hubble helped us get the internet. Hubble and the Canadian Astronomy Data Center, things like that. Yes, there's a couple of other things I've forgotten about them. Anyway, the Hubble in Canada, that's what it's going to be.
Excellent.
excellent, yes.
And the fourth talk will be on astrophotography. That's all we know for now. We got a couple of ideas.
So David, you need to have the titles, don't you?
Yeah,
For the
that would be
museum,
that
so-
would be good. Yeah, and then I need them for the poster as well. And I'll probably need some promo images from the speakers as well, but we can get to that.
Very good.
Yeah, so
Don't forget to include the webmaster in your
No, you're getting a whole package, Joe.
thanks.
Okay, so is there more we can say about the International Astronomy Day? I had an email back and forth with the museum today, and they'll be doing the publicity and setting up the tables and everything for us. That will be on Friday.
No, Lauri, do we know the evenings slate at all? Lauri is muted, I think.
Oh, I'm just okay. Yes, it's oh dear. He's got an interesting name, Falk Herwig
Walt Herwig. Okay.
from I believe the HAA and UVic. Anybody recognize that name?
I think I do.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, he's going to be the speaker. I've asked Ben about 3 times to get the information, and I still don't have that, but he'll be the main speaker for that day. And just sorry, we were also just thinking today. Do you think that it would be okay to ask the winners of the science fair, that we give our prizes to, if they are able to come to the Astronomy Day and put up their projects and maybe talk about them?
I
for
think that's a
bit?
stunning idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good idea.
So we can put it. They don't have to stay for the whole time at all.
Yeah,
They-
no, I think that is a stunning idea.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get that and see if we can get something organized for that then as well.
Okay, and then there are the various tables we want to have. We're pretty good for people who will be outside with solar scopes, but we need to have a few more people commit to being at the welcome table. We do like to have old observers handbooks and journals to hand out. So try to dig them out of wherever in your house. And then very successful last year. Jill presented Stellarium, and I think she's willing to do it, but I'm sure she'd like to have one or two people with her. So and then various schools and institutions will also be having tables. I see Margie's hand.
Yes, just to let you know that I'm willing to help Jill or be at the welcome table or.
That's
Great.
excellent. Okay, and
I have one comment. I will not be able to help with the light pollution this year. I have dress rehearsal and performance for Beethoven's Ninth that day.
oh dear, this would be way
Okay.
more fun.
Oh, thanks, David. We've got Dorothy is able to come in the afternoon.
Excellent.
So possibly if there's someone who wouldn't mind kind of just giving a little bit of information from the quality lighting table, that would be good too. We'll need, probably one, a person there just hanging out and chatting to people as they go by. All the information is on the board. So yeah, it's not too difficult. So if anybody would like a job, we've got one for them. Thank you, Dave, though, for letting us know.
So there will be more information coming out in the emails just to get it out in the open. Okay, David Lee, is there anything else for you to bring up?
I don't think so, but probably Kirsten probably wants to talk about the talk on Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, April 9th. Yes, there was an email that came out a bit earlier today. We are going to be hosting Dr. Toby Brown, and he is an astronomer with NRC. And it's interesting. Like he provided a link to the NASA website to a spectacular number of photos of different types of galaxies and recent pictures that were taken with some of the like James Webb and Atacama. Large millimeter array, the very large telescope. Apparently his specialty is taking the data from these types of modern advances with the telescopes, and he is doing some, I guess, amazing analysis around sort of the evolution and the patterns and the types of galaxies. So that was included in the email that went out on Skynews, and he provided that link because those types of galaxies are going to be what he's going to be speaking about in his talk. So it was nice actually. You can do a little bit of advanced study in before the meeting, but yeah, no, it's going to be really interesting because I think he's going to be relating it to things like evolution of things like dark matter and understanding of the universe and some of those more, I guess, kind of cosmological type questions, and so yeah, so it will be hopefully it'll be a good talk. And I'm happy to say that the location, Alex confirmed a little bit a little while ago that the location is the same as it normally is. It is in the Bob Wright Center in lecture hall 104. So we're all good to go there.
And it is a live only event. So let's get lots of people going out on a Wednesday. It's more fun if there's more people. Dave Payne.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this topic. Thanks for the links and everything, because it's quite related to a posting I just did on my website regarding the structure and what dark matter really is and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited. I hope I can check with my boss here to make sure I can make it, but I'm gonna try and be there. It's really
That's great.
exciting.
And then after, as always, there's going to be a get together in the Astronomy Lounge. And this is your chance to get into our library. And so, Alex, tell us a bit about what's in the library, because I think a lot of people don't know what they can get there. Because you just
all
were
related.
showing us the catalog at the last council meeting.
Yeah, it's loaded with astronomy books, all type, very old books, and then a little bit more modern books.
And what's the oldest one? There's some fancy old book.
I think one is from the 1800s.
You forgot to mention about the pies.
Oh yeah, and my pies.
Very good.
Yes. I
I'm,
make
I'm surprised there's not more chatter about that.
Yeah, well, I can say they're amazingly good pies. Alex bakes and he brings the baking to the event, and they're amazingly good.
Thank you.
And they're better than Jet Puffs even.
They're not as consistent.
Alex, was it Susan that brought you the plums last time?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Susan. It was really good. But Alex also mentioned things like the magazines, like you can take out the latest magazines.
Telescope and astronomy.
I don't know whether as many people get those just coming to their house as we did say 20 years ago, but it's nice to know that you can get copies of them there.
So, yes, Lauri, you're
Yes,
on our
sir.
stream already anyway, so go for it.
Yes, so the GA, or the General Assembly for the Royal Astronomical Society, is going to be held on Saturday, April the 26th, and Sunday, April the 27th. I believe that earlier this week, I believe on Wednesday, there was a notice that came out from Jenna at National, and you could register for the couple of days. I believe it's $30. I think that was $30 for the whole 2 days, and you can kind of dip in and out as you wish to come in to see everything. And of course, I mean, the main attraction is that Randy is giving a talk, and so is our Nova team that has Kirsten and David and Chris and Jeff, and we're going to be giving a couple of the Nova parts for the course, and so that's on, and that's on Saturday. You're on Saturday, right, Randy?
Yeah, I'm Saturday at 11 our time, and there's a real emphasis on citizen science.
Right.
And Kareem Jaffer in Montreal is really pushing it across the country. And so there are 2 eclipses next year, but we're going to try lunar eclipses next year in Canada. And we want to try to get many people making observations of eclipse crater timing. Because it's, first of all, a fantastic story, as I hope you saw in that talk a few weeks ago. But also, I think it's a nice experience to get the whole community working together on a project. And it's something that we can do from coast to coast all at the same time.
So there will be two streams. As there were 2 years ago, we tried this before, so that we have got a stream for people that are fairly new to astronomy, and then one that is for a little bit more I guess maybe the people who've got a little bit more background in astronomy. And a real key, besides the citizen science, this year is going to be astrotourism. And so they want to really pull out places in Canada to go. I mean, it's all part of the, stay in Canada, shop local, travel local, and so there'll be quite a lot of focus on where to go if you want to set up something. I mean, we're just here in Victoria, so blessed to have the center of the universe. So that's a very big main pull for tourists that are coming in. But we also, for the RASC, can be pulling in possibly something on, that we can go to come to Cattle Point and have and kind of see the skies from Cattle Point. We want to just highlight places around Canada that you might want to go in order to have some astrotourism as well as just your regular tourism. So that is it's a little bit of a different play on for the GA this year, but we'll see what happens with that. I'm looking forward to working with lots of people. Jenna is working herself silly trying to get everything done with help from Charles from I've just lost his last name.
Ennis?
Thank you, Charles Ennis, and Roland Deschênes from Calgary, along with a couple of other people that are kind of working to pull all of this together. There will be a
Sorry.
Yes.
Does that mean you're not working yourself silly this year? Have you stepped back?
Some people are, yeah. Yes, it's Jenna's really got it quite pulled together. So I'm not doing quite as much as I did before, but it still requires time and effort. There is going to be a main speaker on the Saturday night, and so I guess it's a little bit tricky because we start at 9 o'clock in the morning and we go through till about 4:30 or 5 by the time everything kind of wraps up with some spaces in between. Whereas they start at 12 at noon and then go through till 9 or 10. So it's a little bit of a switch or across Canada for when everybody is doing all of this stuff. So hopefully, please go on, please go, I can put in the place where you register for the tickets, and then I believe that you will have access if you buy the tickets, you'll have access to all of the recordings for a certain time after as well. So that should work out all right. Oh, thank you, Randy. There we go. There should be a link there somewhere. Yeah. So the keynote speakers on cast with some of the caster. Oh, is speakers. I'm just looking for where the link is for the.
It doesn't say who the
Ooh. It doesn't have the there it says register right next door to your cursor. Oh.
Yeah, right there.
Up in the top there. There it is, yeah. So you just register there. There we go. There'll be awards. The people will be given the awards for across Canada. And this is at this point what's happening. Oh, yeah, there's more has been added since they've done this last this was last Wednesday, so this has been updated. We'll get the update on it. Anyway, lots of interesting things to do if you want to come in, and you don't need to stay the whole time. You could just kind of flip in and out of some of the programs. Okay, so the only other thing is on Astronomy Day, May the 3rd. I mean, we're having the stuff at the museum, and then we're having the program at the FDAO. And in the middle of that, they are doing, and they're trying to get across Canada again for Astronomy Day across Canada with the RASC, and have various centers kind of coming in and saying hi, and just chatting about what they're doing with Astronomy Day. Not exactly sure. I think that's Kareem as well, who's kind of organizing some of that. I will let you know a little bit more about that for May the 3rd. And if we want to be part of that, then we'll just have to make sure that we can get a line into the or an internet access to the main thing. Then people can be looking across Canada at what's happening for Astronomy Day. Okay, that's all I've got.
Wonderful. Natasha.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So I love this Parker Solar Probe mission for two reasons. One is it's just extraordinary science, and the other is the work that they've done in the way of public outreach about it. So I'll just share with you, hopefully this works. I don't know if you can see that, but back in 2018, they put a call out to people, several millions of people, I imagine, where you could put your name in and it would be engraved on a memory card. So my late husband, Lauri and Bentum, and myself, we got our names engraved, so it's actually on the mission itself. But that's just an aside, really. I wanted to give you a little update on this amazing spacecraft, which just last week completed its 23rd close approach to the sun, equaling its own distance record. So it came within about 3.8 million miles, 6.1 million kilometers of the solar surface. But to put it in perspective, as I mentioned earlier, if you imagine the distance between the Earth and the sun to be 1 meter, then Parker Solar Probe was 4 centimeters from the sun. So I think it's quite phenomenal. Anyways, so yeah, I just wanted to let you know it's done this 23rd close encounter, and its speed is about 692,000 kilometers an hour. So I find it difficult to wrap my mind around these statistics, but on this webpage, which I can put in the chat later, there's also a larger scale animation of how it did the most recent encounter. So coming around from Venus, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. I don't know if you can see this animation. Did it flip over to that page?
Yes.
And your name is written on the machine somewhere?
Yes, our names are actually us, and I'm sure several hundred thousand others. We got our names engraved on a memory stick that's actually on the spacecraft.
Oh, it's in a memory. It's in the memory. It's not actually physical.
No,
Okay.
it's engraved. Yeah, but to me, as an outreach person, I love the way that.
That's great.
Okay, so that's it really. Just a little update on how it's doing. And again, of course, the whole science behind this, and Chris probably knows recently they did another recent flyby, but they're waiting to analyze all the data before they make, public information. But essentially they're, trying to explore and understand more about the solar wind. So yeah, that's my little update.
Parker was a fascinating guy, and he's the only living person who's had one of these space telescopes named after him. Anyway, he's the one who made this crazy idea that there was a solar wind back in the 60s, and then it turned out that he was right. But when he suggested it, it was done very much on first principles, and people thought that it just couldn't have been a thing. Probably deserves an Astro Cafe talk someday.
Yeah, he's no longer alive.
Oh.
He was at the launch,
Okay.
in the first couple of years of the mission and all that, but he's no longer with us.
He snuck onto the probe?
No, well, of course, not like Gene Shoemaker, who actually, was a big lunar explorer, kind of a forerunner to our moon man here, and
Way up there.
and he was hoping to become an astronaut to go to the moon, but he had some sort of issue, and but one of the probes that went to the moon a few years ago carried some of his ashes on board. Yeah, he died in a car accident
in Australia.
In Australia, yeah. And of course, he's there's two shoemakers in Shoemaker Levy. He's one of them, him and his wife.
There we go.
And I met him once too. So.
Okay.
Yeah, he was here in Victoria.
Marty, are you talking about the Parker probe, or is it something new?
It was in Victoria, a lecture.
Well, he might have come here, but
Yeah, he was at UVic.
yeah.
I remember that. He was with some Canadian. They were talking about dinosaurs.
Okay.
Did anyone see the APOD today?
Not yet.
Somebody might want to bring it up. I was going to show it, but I didn't get to it. So I don't know whether, Natasha, if you want to do that, because it's a video about what Parker probe saw.
Oh,
Who's going to win?
Not I.
It's intense concentration.
Okay. Am I there? Am I going to win?
oh, we're just simultaneously on it.
Vincent's there. Yeah. Got a shield towards the sun.
Yeah,
Wow.
might be a little hot with sun feeling.
That's an amazing video.
Thanks, Marge. That's great.
Yeah, there has to be a talk about that. There was a smarter everyday video about how it keeps itself oriented by it puts cameras behind the shield. And if any of those cameras sees any light coming, then it reacts, it goes the other direction. It's the easiest little technology possible. Make sure that it is perfectly aimed at the sun by avoiding light coming around the garden. So that'll be another talk someday, Natasha.
Yeah.
Must be quite something to fly through a coronal mass ejection, keep all your electronics going.
I imagine that's not an easy thing. Yeah. Okay, if it's still under an hour, so if people would like, let's go to take a look at the newsletter because
Gary's got.
Gary has a hand up.
Gary has a hand up. Go for it, Gary.
Since we've got time, I have two items I'd like to show you. One of them is a commercial opportunity for Friends of the DAO, but I'll show that second. I'm going to share here if you don't mind. I got to figure out how to do this again because I haven't done it for so long.
We welcome your enthusiasm to come back into presenting.
Yes. So is that showing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is one of the first photographs I ever took. I'm looking forward to getting my scopes going again later this year, so I'm starting to look at some old stuff and practicing with PixInsight. And this is actually a bit of a commercial for it for the newer astrophotographers. It's way easier these days to do this stuff than it used to be. Way, way easier. Someday we'll even get Brock to give it a try, I'm sure, but probably not yet. This, of course, is the Horsehead Nebula. And I was quite surprised when I did this processing this time to find out that the Horsehead Nebula was actually brown in the real colors. And the scale of these things is what amazes me. Like this thing it's kind of beautiful, I think. It's a giant neon sign almost, but in its size across, let me see here, is 24 trillion miles from one side to the other, this picture here. Our whole solar system is the size of one pixel in this image. Yes, that's how big we are. And this is how big these things are. Like it's stunning when you just think about it. And this thing is 8,000 million miles away. Light years don't mean a thing to me, but miles mean something. But a million miles maybe doesn't mean that much, but it kind of gives you a picture of how far away these things are. And this is still a fraction of the distance, across our own galaxy. So I think this is kind of beautiful. I'll be looking at some of my other old stuff that I did. And it's just simply a lovely thing to do and take pictures and be able to say that, you did this and it's an amazing thing. Just magnificent. The second thing I want to put up here is a commercial opportunity here for Friends of the DAO. So could a star bathing retreat help calm your frazzled mind? Okay, I'll just read a little bit here. This is from the BBC, who I normally trust. I lie in an empty Victorian bathtub on heather moorland in the Yorkshire moors in England's north. Above me, more and more stars appear as the sky slowly darkens from blue to violet to navy. Beside me, in her own bathtub, my star-bathing guide, Gemma, leads a meditation. Allow yourself to be awed by the incredible sky view that you're witnessing, she says softly. Appreciate that we are here right now on this beautiful evening. Focus gently on the sky and your breath. Just be. How does that sound, guys? I think it's brilliant.
Well,
for that to work.
I could lead the meditation.
Could you? Okay, good. We just need a bunch of old bathtubs now to stick someplace up on the hill. I'm sure that'd go over like a lead balloon.
Oh, no, they got it already. The mosquito pool.
Oh, mosquito.
We could put it as one of the astrotourism things for for the GA.
Yes. Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not? That sounds good to me.
In Alberta, at the Lazy M Ranch, west of Red Deer, which is a fishing lodge, they have a hot pool that sits out at night. You can go sit out at night and look at the stars. It's actually a pretty nice location. Very dark.
Yeah, I'm sure that's delightful, but it's nowhere near as cool as laying in a bathtub looking at the stars. I think. Anyhow, that's my contribution for tonight. Let me see.
Gary, what is the status that you're sounding more optimistic now than I've heard you lately.
Yes, I'm actually in a much
plan?
better mood these days because things are a little bit more clarified. We finally finished the design and we should start digging holes in the ground for foundations within a matter of weeks and hopefully done by the end of the summer.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
That
is
would
it
be
going to
great.
be similar to your Arizona?
It will be smaller because of local building restrictions, but it'll be fairly similar. It'll be a slightly different principle, but I can give a talk on it later. I'm going to be taking pictures on it because John McDonald's encouraged me to make a book on how we build this one, so I thought I'd take him up on that one. But I've got a whole. What you do is you just tell all your friends you're building something like this, and all of a sudden you have more than enough help because all these old guys that are retired would love something fun to do. So it's great. I've got all these guys working with me. It should be a lot of fun.
And you'll have both those telescopes up?
Yes, both of them.
2 years.
Yeah. So more to be announced later on, but we start hopefully soon.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'll unshare this, I hope. Does this unshare it?
You still share it.
Okay, how do I unshare it? Oh, stop share. There we go.
Okay.
Randy.
Okay, Lauri, and then I have Chris beside me. Good.
Oh, Randy, I'd forgotten to let the group know about a special movie night that we are having up at the center with about Wilfred Buck, and who is one of the great First Nations astronomer educators in the Americas, and they have made a documentary about him, and we are having a special night with screening for it, and if I can share if I can see if I could share the screen, I could get up the thing. If I can try that, can I do it? And I think here we go.
You know, if my memory serves me
try
right,
this.
Wilfred Buck was a speaker at the famous or infamous Saskatchewan Star
Yes.
Party GA.
Yes.
When was that? 20.
That was
or something.
That was the international. The
Oh.
anniversary of Galileo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2009.
2009. Okay.
That's right.
And, 400 astronomers stood around in the rain for 4 days.
Oh.
Anyway, this is the feature documentary. It will be on Saturday, April the 5th. So next Saturday. And there's going to be two, one in the afternoon and one in the evening. It is 96 minutes, so it's a full documentary presentation, and there are the tickets that if you're a member of the FDAO, then you will have gotten the link, and then tickets were released on Friday to be able to get that. So I don't know whether the link isn't there. Sorry, I'll see if I can find the link for you. But Wilfred is a wonderful person who has a very distinct way of speaking and talking about his culture and how astronomy fits into things. If you're interested, please see that if you'd like to try to come to one of those presentations. Well, there we go.
Thank you. Okay, so just as a segue, I'm going to go ahead of you, Chris.
Go ahead.
So knowing about that, so here's the Skynews that I published last night.
Yeah.
And some wonderful story from our president about his pursuit of Stefan's quintet, and then Chris's book, which he's lent me and I love, about the geological maps of the moon. But what I wrote to do is come here. So now we can add to this on April 5th. can be up
Okay,
at the
yeah,
Star Party, that movie at the center of the universe. And on the 6th, you can go to the Vancouver Island Regional Science Fair. And on the 7th is Astro Cafe. And then on the 8th, you can see Nathan at Bolingbrook. And on the 9th, you can see Toby Brown at our university talk. So nobody's allowed to be bored.
All astronomy, all the time.
that's right.
One thing that's interesting compiling this calendar is there weren't many astronomical events that I felt like talking about, but a lot of Apollo 13 news. Because in the month of April, well, you had Apollo 6, which I bet Chris could tell us something interesting about, but it also featured Apollo 13 and Apollo 16 in 1970 and 1972. And then, just to make it even better, Hubble was launched 25 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
35.
35 years.
35 years ago, and it's still working. Imagine how many of your computers are still working from 1990. Anyway, that's pretty cool.
But they upgraded the computer, you know, like they launched it with a 386, and now it's got the blazing power of a 486 computer.
And we were talking about Eugene Shoemaker, who was really very, very important in all the fields of astrogeology. He was very keen observer of meteor craters on Earth, among other things. Anyway, he was born. So April was a, you know, I haven't actually made it explicit, but I hope you figured out that if it's in black, it's something happening now. If it's green, it's an astronomical event. And if it's red, it's just something of historical interest. I hope everybody understood that when they look at this calendar.
What's interesting there was the great debate that you have on there, right? The Shapley-Curtis debate. So that's 95 years.
No, 105.
105.
Oh, 100. Oh, right, going the wrong direction. Yeah, 105 years ago. Yeah. Amazing.
And this trajectory that Dan goes through of his, you know, he was always really taken by this feature. I mean, it's a cluster of galaxies, and he keeps trying to get a better picture, and he's been thwarted from getting what he wanted. And then in 2022, he got this one, but he still says he's still working on getting the perfect data of this cluster. Anyway, it's a really nice letter that he wrote.
Yeah.
Do give it a read. Okay. Chris Gainor.
Well, you mentioned Apollo 6. Apollo 6, nobody remembers it.
No,
I don't remember that.
And I'm going to tell you why. If you were alive that day, you remember that day, but unfortunately not because of Apollo 6. Because a couple of hours after the flight of Apollo 6, Martin Luther King was killed.
Oh.
So, but Apollo 6 was the second test of the Saturn V, and it was the only Saturn V that didn't work 100%. It actually was a partial failure, but they managed to figure it all out, and then we had a string of failures after.
No, successes.
First success.
Failures too.
Yeah, no, the Saturn V always worked. So just a couple of things. You know, I'm following the situation with the Artemis program and the fate of the Artemis program, which hopefully, a year from now, we'll be maybe looking forward to the flight of a Canadian around the moon along with 3 other people. And things are beginning to look good. You know, they're putting the rocket together down at the Cape in the vertical assembly building. And things are almost, there's rumors that they might even move the schedule ahead a little bit, but anyway. Otherwise, things kind of on the NASA scene are kind of quiet. You know, in terms of all the politics that I've been talking about lately. But we'll see what happens. The big thing was when the budget comes down in the next few weeks, we'll see what happens. But a couple of other items, I was just noodling around here, and I came across this interesting little note here. Just a second. Asteroid 2024 YR4. Remember, there's a few weeks ago, there's all this chatter about that there's like a 3% chance to hit the Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, well, ongoing analysis of the asteroid with imagery from JWST suggests that it will miss Earth in 2032, but the asteroid could strike the moon, an event that could have scientific value. So probably not likely to happen, but we'll see what happens. Another item that I will mention is that in the past few days, word has come out that JWST has found aurora on Neptune. And
yes, I saw a picture of that.
And the interesting thing is that you know, because Jupiter and Saturn are known to have aurorae, and you know, there's a lot of effort put into trying to find it on Neptune, and I don't know about Uranus, but anyway, but it turns out that they never succeeded in finding it until now, because the aurorae are on Neptune are much dimmer, like about 1% of what they expected. So they you know, because they looked with Hubble and with various other telescopes, but then they really, you know, turned on the juice on Webb and found some aurora there. So so those are a couple of items from the space email bag that I will mention.
Lauri, add that to the list of tourist destinations.
Kirsten, and then Garry.
Yeah, I just wanted to share because Chris brought up Neptune, and just by way of context, David mentioned earlier that I'm going to be giving a presentation at the beginner SIG tomorrow night on Saturnian moons, and I'm thinking I'm hosting Astro Cafe next week, and I might actually give the presentation next week. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but could be about 30 minutes or so at Astro Cafe. But in the course of my research for that, I did a lot of research into the moons of Titan and Enceladus, because they're particular favorites of mine for reasons, because they have subsurface saltwater oceans and various other things as well. But in the course of the research, I don't know how many people were aware of this, but last November, November 2024, there was new evidence that was published from the scientific community. Apparently, it's quite compelling. Chris, you may know about this, but it's now basically indicating that the planets of Neptune and Uranus are now believed to have very deep oceans. Like, they're now potentially viewed as water worlds. And so like there's like both planets, as we know, have these amazingly complex and volatile kind of cloud systems and weather systems within that. Their atmospheres apparently are about 3,000 miles deep. In comparison, Earth's atmosphere is about 100 kilometers. Venus is about
That's
100.
really stretching it for Earth.
Yeah. Well,
Both within the top bottom 10.
yes. Venus is about 120K. Mars is about 80 or 90, but Saturn and Uranus are believed to have atmospheres that are literally 3,000 miles deep. And then below that, so I don't know what kind of atmospheric pressures we're talking about here, but the evidence is suggesting that under this cloud structure, there are oceans that are about 5,000 miles deep. And so there's much more interest now in getting some type of probe or spacecraft out there because apparently this type of planet, like the ice giant, is very representative of the types of kind of very common exoplanets that have been found. And so it potentially is changing. If this ends up being true, I don't know if it will end up being true, but the evidence apparently is very compelling. But this could change like the predictions around life because I don't know, like because of course Uranus and Neptune are very old. They're potentially 4.5 billion years old, and that's a long time. And so if there are like saltwater oceans of that depth on these planets, I mean, who knows what the temperature is or what the pressures are. But anyway, I thought I would just share that because it was I had no idea, and I just thought it was a really it completely blew my mind about thinking about those two planets. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Garry Sedun.
That was awesome, Kristen. Chris mentioned Apollo. Recently, I was sitting on an airplane for about 13 hours, and I came across a movie called First Man. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it.
Yep.
Yes.
It's quite stunning. It's about it's about Neil Armstrong landing on the moon and what it was like to be an astronaut. I'd encourage anybody to watch it because it changes your mind completely about how this whole thing happened. Like there are so many things that could go wrong and did go wrong, as a matter of fact. For example, just as they were about to land on the moon, Neil Armstrong, no, the other guy in the capsule said, "Look at that! Those boulders that we're about to land on are as big as houses." So Neil Armstrong actually took manual control of the lander and flew over a honking big crater and landed on the other side of the crater with 1% fuel left. Like, okay, then, this is just serious stuff. And all sorts of other stuff that went on. And they actually tried to highlight some of the characters of the astronauts themselves. So they're not, I think they were once called golden midgets for a variety of reasons, I forget. But it's an interesting movie just to find out a little bit more about what it was like to actually do all this stuff.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting movie. I think it came out in 2018, 2019?
2018, that's right, yeah.
And the guy who plays Armstrong is quite a big star.
Yeah, he is, yeah. What amazed me about Armstrong is he had practically no personality. Like
he was a Canadian guy, actually.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, anyway, Neil Armstrong, of course, was walked away from a lot of wrecks in his time. He flew on the X-15. His first flight, Gemini 8, he was almost killed in that flight because they had a thruster that developed a short circuit, and it's just started firing, and they were tumbling out of control. And he was able to bring it back under control, and and returned to Earth. And then, of course, his good friend Ed White was killed in the Apollo fire, and yes, he had a bit of an adventure during the landing, but people who know were not surprised that he still made the landing despite.
Yeah, he's good at it. Yeah, on the Gemini flight, they showed that too, and they actually put you inside the capsule as it was spinning around, getting up to 1 revolution a second. And they thought he was going to faint because there's so much G forces on him, but he pulled it off, and good for him. So imagine being up in a tin can 120 miles above the Earth, spinning 1 time a second, and saying, "Oh my goodness, this is not good." So quite an interesting movie to see what it was really like to be an astronaut, and it wasn't always all glamorous, that's for darn sure.
A lot of the time that it happened, they were out of reach with from the tracking station. So
yeah.
It was him and Dave Scott, who's still alive, by the way, Dave Scott, and he was Dave Scott was commander of Apollo 15, which is, I think, my favorite Apollo landing mission, because they landed, they had to fly over Mount Hadley, and then they landed next to a lunar rill, and it's just spectacular pictures that they brought back, and they were the first one to have a lunar roving vehicle as well. So anyway, yeah, very interesting film. Kind of a dark film, I thought, but very interesting.
Well, thank you for that movie review. So let me remind people, that is spot on what we like with Astro Cafe. Bring us your book reviews, movie reviews, music reviews. Bring your slide, your photos and anything. Yeah, we're supposed to get some clear skies. I'm just putting on that cloud prediction, and let me put this on for everybody. It looks like after a bit we're going to get nicer time going. So share. So look at all that clear sky there. So right now, a lot of stuff going on.
Ryan Gosling, that's who played Neil Armstrong.
There we go. So that's April 2nd, still a bit, we've got our little hole there, but it's not that impressive. Now we're into the 3rd, and look at that. From then on, it's looking really nice.
What is that website?
Oh, Natasha, you have to know this. So you get it from the Victoria Clear Sky Chart.
Uh-huh.
And it's a Canadian who just recently died. What was his name? Attila Danko has set this up. It's using Environment Canada data, and a lot of us will look at this very top row and hope for this, lots of blue, because that will tell us that there's supposed to be a clear sky. But our weather guru, Reg, says this is just looking at 1 pixel of this product that Environment Canada does. And what's even better is you can animate it, and it shows you the next 3 or so days. And you can then, sometimes it'll show this area here, say, oh, that looks pretty good. But in fact, you're just between clouds and, and this is a prediction. It is often hours out. So you have to know how to read this with a grain of salt. But when you see it opening up like this, so here we are here, and when you see lots and lots of blue, that's the time that the astrophotographers even are optimistic enough to pull out their gear. Not just like us lunar people who will take anything.
Thank
Does
you.
anybody remember how anxious we were about the weather a year ago?
Yeah, April 8th. Some people did better than others.
I had to change states.
I drove all across Canada.
That's right.
But you saw something.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, for Kathy was
And Lauri.
just
We're right
this
there.
close to where it was clear.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Altered states.
Okay, and with that, yes, Kirsten is going to host next week, and David Lee the week after that, and then Easter Monday, which we'll take off. So, good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Night.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.